Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making my Yum Yum Cheesecake. I'm just going to jump right into the recipe, so let's get started. This recipe calls for a graham cracker crust, so I'm going to start by putting my graham cracker crumbs into my bowl. If you only have graham crackers on hand, that's fine. Just throw them in your food processor or even a freezer bag and break them down with a rolling pin. It's all the same. And then to the crumbs, I'm going to add a cup of sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm also going to add approximately 3 tablespoons of melted butter. I prefer margarine, so I use margarine, but you can use butter. Just make sure that it's unsalted. And once I get everything in the bowl, I'm just going to mix everything around with my fingers. I'm going to break up any large pieces, and I'm going to make sure that all the crumbs are coated with the butter and that it's all mixed in together. We're looking for somewhat like of a sandy texture. You know, when you make a sandcastle and all sticks together, that's what we want. Now we get to form the crust in the pan. So what I have here is a springform pan, which I've buttered on the bottoms and the sides. I'll sprinkle the graham cracker crumbs all along the bottom, break up some big pieces, just move everything around so it's somewhat even. What I'm going to be doing is pulling the graham crackers up the side of the pan, and I do that by pressing it into the side and it will stick. I bring it up about 2 inches. You don't have to be exact, and you can even skip this step if you prefer not to have your crust on the side of the cake. You can just have the crust on the bottom. Most people prefer it that way, but because I love graham cracker crust, I have to have it up the side. You'll see that it'll start to gather quite thick in the corner, so I'll just go through with my fingers and kind of feather it out so that I've got enough to finish the entire pan. And this is the finished product. So I've pressed all the crumbs firmly to the bottom and up around the sides, and now we're going to make the filling to add to the crust before we bake it. So we're going to start with cream cheese in my bowl. I'm going to use a hand mixer to smooth it out. I do make sure that the cream cheese is at room temperature because it does make this process go a lot easier. To the cream cheese, I'm going to add lemon rind. It's about 2 tablespoons, I believe. You'll have to double check the ingredients on my recipe below, but it's basically 1 large lemon, and sometimes you might have to use a little bit of another lemon as well, but I just try to get as much in there as I can because this is really the ingredient that's going to make it feel fresh and light. So I think it's really important to have it in there. Now we're going to add the sugar, which is 1 cup, and we're going to also add in the eggs as well at this point. This recipe calls for 5, and we can dump everything in at once. This recipe is so easy. We don't have to add 1 egg mix and so on. We can just put everything in here at the same time. And then we're going to blend it all up until it's smooth and bright yellow color. I want to make sure that my ingredients are evenly incorporated into the mixture, so I will stop the mixing process and I will scrape down my bowl about 2 or 3 times throughout this process. The entire mixing time should take approximately 10 minutes. What we're looking for is a smooth consistency, all the ingredients to be incorporated, and it has a yellow color to it. And now we pour the cream cheese mixture into our graham cracker crust. And again, I just try to make sure that it's pouring smoothly, evenly, and till I get every last drop. So I put the cake on top of a cookie sheet. I do this just to save my oven in case there's any spills or leakages. And we'll put that in a 350-degree oven for approximately 45 minutes. And so now we check to see if it's done. And I'll do that by looking at the top. You can see that it has cracked. You can see the big crack there, and there's a few other ones. And it also will get a little brown around the edges as well. So now I'm just going to take it out and I'm going to let it rest on the top of the stove for about 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to refrigerate. So now it's refrigerated for overnight, so I'm going to say at least 12 hours here. I do recommend a minimum 12 to 24 hours just because this cake needs to really set and be cool all the way through before you add your topping and serve. So now I'm just going to remove it from the pan. So we just press on the lever on the side, which will loosen it up for you. It will be a little sticky in the beginning just because the crust had formed to the pan as well. This is the outcome of that. So this is where we've raised it up 2 inches on the side. So if you didn't want that, then your crust would just be on the bottom alone, and that would just be cheesecake showing there. And now we're just going to go ahead and add our toppings. And so now we add the topping. For me, the easiest thing to do is just to buy a pie filling, and I typically go with cherry, but you can get any flavor you like, or you don't even need to put a topping on at all if you don't like that. A lot of people I know prefer no topping, but for me, I just grew up with it that way, so that's the way I like it, and of course that's the way my kids like it now too. So what I'll do is I'll just empty most of the jar on top of here. If I wasn't doing it on camera, I'd probably dump the whole thing on there just because I love the cherries so much, but I just try to spread it around evenly to the edges. Sometimes I don't go all the way to the edge just because I don't want it to start running down the side of the crust. And there it is, my favorite cake ever. Let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Give the video a thumbs up, and for more recipes, don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.